Welcome to FargoFX. This is Jason, and once again it is Tuesday Tools Day. For those who have been waiting for a new build video, I do have one in the works, but it's taking a little longer to produce and edit than I was expecting, so expect that later in the week. But for right now, I thought I would do a quick review on a new multi-tool that I found that really fits with my personality and my philosophy when it comes to everyday carry. So if you've been with the channel for very long, you may remember that sometime last year I did a sort of pocket dump style review of things that I carry, and I had to confess at that time that I really don't carry a whole lot because I don't know, maybe I'm lazy, but in all seriousness, I really do have a minimalist philosophy, and the tool I'll be reviewing today is appropriately named the Minimalist. So this tiny little, basically we'll call it a keychain multi-tool, comes from a company called True Utility. I found this thing at the Sportsman's warehouse. I don't know if you have one near you. I know there's a lot of them in the western United States, maybe not so much in the eastern US, but at least out here in the West, it's a fairly well-known sporting goods store. And I would say that in general, they sell pretty decent quality items. So when I saw this tool on the rack, even though I hadn't heard of the brand, I thought I would pick it up. It was pretty reasonably priced, around $11. And it seemed like at that price, it was worth taking the risk. I've needed a good, really small pocket sort of multi-tool for a long time. I've tried a few different solutions. I even made a keyring multi-tool of my own. That one has proven to be, I don't know, less functional than I was hoping for. So I figured I would give this one a chance. Now there really isn't a whole lot to discuss about this tool because it's small and it doesn't have a whole lot of features to it. The marketing materials say that it has 7 features, but they're also counting that sort of carabiner style clip. And I do consider that a feature because it makes it very easy to put on and off of a keychain, or even if you wanted to, you could use this as your keychain. But I wouldn't necessarily regard that feature as a tool per se. However, it does have a very sharp and very useful knife blade. I haven't actually put a tape measure on this thing, but neighborhood of maybe 1.5 inches. So definitely not something that would likely be mistaken for a weapon. So if you're concerned about issues surrounding concealment of a weapon or something, I think it would be a pretty hard stretch for any police force anywhere in the world to call this a weapon. With that said, obviously you need to look into your local laws. But I will say that I'm pretty sure anywhere in the United States you'd probably be okay with this. It also claims to be UK compliant because it is not a locking blade. And that's true, it is not a locking blade, but it is held open by a sort of spring that's built into the spine of the tool, and it really has a feel that's very similar to, let's say, a classic pocket knife. Now the other tools are, as you can see, obviously a bottle opener is built into the side there. There's a small Phillips screwdriver, and what appears to be maybe a couple different sizes of slot screw or a flathead screwdriver. And possibly that one that's near the pivot point could be used as maybe a small pry tool. I wouldn't put too much force on that because although it seems to be a well-designed and well-built little tool, it's obviously not meant for really big jobs. As you can see, there's also a small file on the back. I would consider that more of like a nail file type of a thing than really a metal file, mainly because it's just, it seems to me it's a little bit on the small side. Now, a couple of other things to mention about this. The frame of the tool is made of 420 steel. I haven't been able to find, like in any of the marketing literature, whether the blade is also 420 steel or what type of steel it is, but it does say that the tools and blade are coated with black titanium. Now, I assume that would be largely cosmetic and maybe for scratch resistance. I don't know how much of an advantage there is in terms of hardness to a surface coating of titanium. It certainly gives some abrasion resistance, some scratch resistance, and I suppose depending on how it's applied and how thick it is, there might be a little bit of a hardness advantage there as well. But I would think most of the strength of the tool would come from the type of steel and the way that it's heat treated. And again, I haven't been able to get any real details on that. Couple of other things to mention. The springs on this, they're good stiff springs. If you open the tool, it's going to stay open until you intend to close it. It wouldn't be something you'd want to try to stab with or puncture with. But there is a good strong spring holding it open and also holding it closed once you have it in the closed position. The same also goes for the other tool that has the bottle opener and screwdrivers built into it. And as you may have noticed, there is one other little cutting blade in there that's clearly designed for, let's say, cutting cord or, like electrical wire. And due to the shape of the design, you could probably strip the insulation off of something like speaker wire using that tool as well. The other thing that comes to mind is, for example, a seatbelt cutter. I haven't actually tried this on any type of webbing, but it might work for cutting seatbelts. But of course, if it doesn't, you always have the knife blade that you can use as well. So there isn't too much else to say about this. I would like to call attention to the weight. It's advertised as, I believe, 1.4 ounces. I threw it on a scale and it actually came in slightly under that. And just to kind of show how that compares, I put a couple of car keys on here, and the two keys together actually weigh more than this one tool. So again, for me, based on my sort of minimalist inclination, I think this is almost the perfect tool, and I have been carrying it on my keychain for the last several days. I have not even noticed that it's on there. It isn't snagging on anything. It hasn't, the blade hasn't tried to open in my pocket or anything like that. So I think this is actually a very well-designed and seems to be a very well-built little tool. It's not an expensive tool. Again, you're probably looking at, depending on where you buy it, you're probably looking at $10 or $11. And if you're into minimalism in your everyday carry, I would really recommend you give this tool a try. Now, because I have an Amazon affiliate account, I would love to point you to this tool on Amazon. Unfortunately, I wasn't really able to find it. The brand, as I understand, is True Utility, and I have found a whole ton of their other tools on Amazon. I'm guessing this is maybe a fairly new design. That might be why I haven't seen it featured on Amazon yet. But what I will do is I'll include a link in the description below to a tool that is, I would say, similar in size, maybe a little tiny bit bulkier, and has maybe a couple of additional features. But overall, it's pretty similar in purpose. And also comes from the True Utility brand. So you can check that out if you want. Otherwise, if you're interested in this specific tool, if you have a Sportsman's Warehouse in your area, definitely go in there and see if they're carrying these. Or, by now it might be on Amazon for that matter too. So, but like I said, in the description below, I will link to a similar size tool from the same company, and you can check that out if you're interested. And of course, as an Amazon affiliate, I do get a small commission off of that sale. So that's one way you can support the channel if you're interested. And another way that's a little bit more direct, I recently started a Patreon account, and so I'll leave a link to that at the end of the video here. And with that, I will just say, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next video.